Hey guys, it's Kevin, and this is going to be another movie review, and this movie I'm going to be reviewing, I really didn't know how this movie was going to be overall. I really wanted this movie to be good, and the trailer it wasn't doing it for me. There was nothing really funny about the trailers or anything, and that movie I'm going to be reviewing is Get Hard. Get Hard was a movie that I was hoping would be really good, especially because Kevin Hart's last movie, The Wedding Ringer, I thought it was going to suck and end up being really good, and I was hoping that this one would be just as good as that. And after watching Get Hard, what I think of this movie, pretty much the same way I thought about The Wedding Ringer. Get Hard's a really fun movie. I thought this was a really fun movie. It does have a few more problems than The Wedding Ringer. It's not as good as The Wedding Ringer, but I still feel the same way about how I did about The Wedding Ringer. It's a movie that I feel isn't terrible. I probably would recommend it. But I'm going to get into the problems and things like that. But let's just get into the plot of this movie. Because honestly, the plot is really funny. Will Ferrell plays this very wealthy business manager, James King. He's engaged this girl, Alyssa, and basically his car washer, Darnell, and his wife, Rita, are basically trying to put, his daughter into this better school away from the bad neighborhood they live in, because they don't really live in a good neighborhood. And one day, James actually meets Darnell, and, he actually ends up scaring him. And basically, after Alyssa hosts this engagement party for James, he finds out that he's actually being arrested for fraud and embezzlement, and James has no idea what's going on because he didn't do any of this. And basically, he has to basically go to prison. He finds that he has to, go to prison and everything. But, he has 30 days to basically get in order to basically, fix everything. And then he has to prepare for prison. But he doesn't really know if he's prepared for prison. So he hires Darnell, who he assumes used to be in a gang. But we find out that Darnell was not in a gang. And basically, he has to pretend that he was involved in prison and used to go to prison, things like that. And basically prepare James and himself and basically get hard. Get hard as in get ready for prison and get tough and things like that and be ready for that. And that's basically the plot of Get Hard. And honestly, the plot is really ridiculous, but it is really funny. And it really does remind me of The Wedding Ringer, how ridiculous it was, but this one I like even more than that. I will say that it's not as good as I said, it's not as good as The Wedding Ringer, and there are things that I like about The Wedding Ringer more this movie doesn't have. Let's get to the acting in this movie. The best part about this movie, honestly, is the chemistry between Will Ferrell and Kevin Hart. Their chemistry is perfect. Will Ferrell is James King. This was sort of a different role for Will Ferrell. Will Ferrell usually plays those really weird guys that don't have a life and things like that, and no one really likes him. But this character, no, he's this successful businessman. He has, a fiance, and I really enjoyed, his character. I thought he did a really good job portraying his character. I will admit some jokes with him got a little bit silly. Not everything he says is funny, and this is definitely not one of Will Ferrell's better performances, but I still thought he did a really good job in this movie, definitely. I cared about his character, I did, and Kevin Hart as Darnell, I definitely care more about his character than I did about James. In fact, for part of the movie, I'm like, they should have made Darnell the main character. Darnell's a little bit more relatable because he is, stereotyped as, because he keeps talking about how all these black people are always stereotyped as they were in a gang or in prison, and he was not like that, and he's just a really nice guy, and he really needs to change himself to prepare for that, and you see that he really doesn't know what he's doing, and it's so funny to watch, and he did a great job. And honestly, I know a lot of people don't like Kevin Hart, but he honestly has been impressing me so much lately. He has yet to give a bad performance in a movie. I thought he did a fantastic job in this movie. He was even funnier than The Wedding Ringer. He was funnier in this because he's less experienced, and it was even funnier here, and I thought he did just a really, really great job. He was hilarious in this movie, and I loved his character. He was great. Definitely. Great job from him. Alison Brie, Alison Brie is one of the most attractive women working today. She's extremely hot. She gets this really, she's really hot and things like that. Her character, though, I really enjoyed. My problem with her character, though, is that I don't feel we saw enough of her. Very quickly, after James gets arrested, she ends up breaking up with him because we find out she only wanted him for money, and I wish we would have seen her at least one more time, because then she just goes away. We don't see her for the rest of the movie. There is this really good, there is this twist with her. which I thought was interesting, but I just didn't really buy it. And after her breaking up with him, I was like, well, why do we have to do that to her? That didn't make sense to me. And then they explained in this really interesting twist in the movie, which I thought was good. I just didn't really like the twist overall. I thought it was kind of stupid the way the twist went, but I thought she did a really good job. Definitely very funny, and I really enjoyed her character. Edwina Finley as Rita plays Darnell's wife, and she's really funny as well. Just seeing her put on this act as, pretending to be in this gang. Also, I forgot to talk about the funniest scene in the movie is when Darnell is recalling. Hang on one second, guys. Sorry, I was getting a phone call. Okay, the best scene in the movie is when Darnell is recalling a time in the gang, but it's not from the gang. It's actually a scene from Boys in the Hood, which I thought was absolutely hilarious that they referenced Boys on the Hood. And the funniest part of the movie is like James is like, wasn't that sounds like a movie? And it was really funny when he said that. I thought it was probably one of the funniest scenes in the movie. I thought he did a really good job there, and he was definitely very funny. And the side characters too, Craig T. Nelson, T.I., they were all really funny. They're part of this fake gang that Darnell makes, and I thought they were really good as well, and I definitely enjoyed their characters. So I thought overall that everyone was really good. The directing by Ethan Cohen I thought was really good. I thought he did a good job with his directing. Really didn't have a problem with it. He kept a consistent tone throughout the movie, and I thought definitely he was fine with his directing. The screenplay here I thought was really funny. Now I will admit some lines are really stupid. There are some lines there's this one line toward the end of the movie. It's ridiculous, it's stupid, but it's a comedy and it worked really well. My only thing with this movie is that it's not that funny. It's really not. I mean, it's not like gut-busting laughter. Like if I had to compare Wedding Ringer to Get Hard, Wedding Ringer was definitely a whole lot funnier. Wedding Ringer had a lot more funny scenes. This had funny scenes, but there were so many scenes in between that they just were not as funny, and I would have wanted to be just a bit more funny. Not too much more, but if it would have been a bit more funny, I definitely would have enjoyed the movie more than I did, because I did enjoy the movie. I want to stress that. I enjoyed this movie. I just didn't enjoy it as much as I could have, and I thought the screenplay was kind of lacking there. The cinematography was fine, the editing was fine, the movie went by quite fast, score was fine, but I just didn't feel it had I feel like they could have definitely done more with the movie. The movie could have been a lot better than it initially ended up being. Now, I will say, though, compared to other comedies like Hopped Up Time Machine 2 and things like that, this is not Hopped Up Time Machine 2. I really thought this was a fun movie, and I would recommend this movie. And now I'm going to talk about the thing that I did not like about this movie. I'm going to talk about spoilers here, so if you guys have not seen Get Hard, and you guys want to, honestly, I would recommend it. I would. I want to talk about the twist in this movie that I did not like. Don't watch the rest of this review. Go see Get Hard, and then listen to my spoiler, because this is a pretty big spoiler here. When we found out that Alyssa was involved in this scheme with Martin, I just thought that was sort of just like a cop-out. It's like they didn't know what else to do with her, so they had to put her back into it somehow because, she broke up with him. They had to explain why she broke up with him, and I just thought overall was really stupid. And when that other girl with James, that other girl, I don't remember her name, the black girl though, when James really liked her and things like that, and they started a relationship, I just didn't really care. I'm like, well, why'd you have to do that to Alyssa? I mean, there wasn't anything that made her character seem suspicious. She never once seemed like a suspicious character. It just seemed like they wanted to have more scenes with her, so they had that twist with her, and it really did not work for me. I didn't find it funny, and I just thought overall it was kind of a dumb twist. The ending I thought was really cheesy, but I liked the bonding overall. I thought the buddy comedy part of it was really fun. Definitely enjoyed that, but I just thought that it was a little bit lacking, definitely. That twist I thought was really lacking, and that's really my only complaint with the movie. But like I said, the movie overall, I definitely enjoyed it. It really is a fun buddy comedy. Definitely I enjoyed it. The training scenes, though, I do have to say this. The training scenes were not as funny as I thought they could have been. I thought the training scenes could have been a lot funnier. I will admit this as well. Some of the funniest scenes in the movie is also Will Ferrell trying to talk like a black guy. It's so funny because he's being so racist and he has no idea that he's being as racist as he is, which I love seeing. I thought those were really funny. But scenes besides that, there are so many scenes that just don't work and are not funny, and you walk away and you're just like, that wasn't funny. What was the point of that scene? And it just made me kind of like, the first 20 minutes of this movie, by the way, guys, are great. I really love the first, 30 minutes of the movie. But then when we got more into the gang stuff, I just thought it got a little bit stupid. But overall, guys, this is it for my review of Get Hard. Let me know what you guys thought of this movie if you have seen it. I personally did enjoy the movie. I would recommend it. I'm not going to say it's a terrible movie, because it's not a terrible movie. It's a pretty good movie. It just has a lot of scenes that are very lacking. It has some scenes that are not very funny. And if you guys want a funny comedy, go see, if you guys want a fun comedy, I mean, it's really the only comedy in theaters right now, so I would say go see it, definitely, because it is a fun movie, definitely, I would say that. You see the Duff, though, the Duff is definitely funnier. I've seen funnier comedies this year, definitely. The Wedding Ringer was funnier than this. I mean, it just wasn't as funny as it could have been, and it kind of is disappointing, but it just wasn't as funny as it could have been. It could have been a lot funnier, and I wish it would have been funnier. But that's in my review. Hope you guys enjoy it. I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be my review for another movie review. So I'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.